You reap what you sow.
But Donald Trump has promised to use his Justice Department as a vehicle to enact his personal retribution toward. That is why it's happening.
All right.
By pretending that there's
Brian,
Let me bring in
you're
Vinny.
saying good for Brian. Good, because we want Brian. Good for him. If they did illegal shit, then go to jail. You guys are talking all that crap, and you're warning what Trump is going to do to what Biden and his DOJ has done this entire 4 years. Are you not seeing it?
In this one, we're going to have a look at a nice little discussion. Not quite a heated debate, although there are some intense moments between Andrew Wilson, Vinny Oshana, going up against woke-ass Brian Tyler Cohen and Democratic Party strategist Julie Rodzinski. Now, this one's a longer video, and I don't want to waste too much of your time, but I noticed the other day about 90% of the people that watch my videos aren't subscribed, and I just wanted to ask you guys to consider subscribing today. Now, let's go ahead and get right into it.
Vinny, I want to switch gears. I want to talk about pardons and this extraordinary situation where Joe Biden, having spent the year telling us that the rule of law means that no one can be above the law, then dramatically pardons his criminal son so he doesn't go to jail, and is now apparently considering widespread pardons for people who've not even been accused of any crimes. Well, they haven't been charged with any crimes. They've been accused of potentially committing them. And Trump has obviously seized on all this and was asked on Meet the Press about the January 6th protesters who've been jailed. And he said this.
I'm going to look at everything. We're going to look at individual cases, yeah.
Okay.
But I'm going to be acting very quickly.
Within your first 100 days, first day?
First day.
First day.
Yeah, I'm looking first day.
Issue these pardons.
These people have been there, how long is it, 3 or 4 years?
Okay.
You know, by the way, they've been in there for years, and they're in a filthy, disgusting place that shouldn't even be allowed to be open.
Now, Vinny, I mean, this is entirely predictable that Trump would say this and want to pardon a lot of the January 6th. He didn't say all of them. I mean, clearly he was trying to make some distinction between the categories, really, of people involved. But what is your view of this pardon process generally? I mean, every president pardons people, but it does seem extraordinary that Biden, having banged on about the rule of law all year and weaponized the justice system, in my estimation, against Trump all year, is now effectively weaponizing it preemptively, where he's almost second-guessing that people like Anthony Fauci or Liz Cheney or others may or may not have committed crimes. And so he gives them these blanket immunities, apparently, like he's given Hunter. That's the plan, which seems to me to be an utter repudiation of the rule of law, isn't it?
Piers, I agree 100%. And obviously the left is going to play the whole, song and dance of, oh, it's his son. It's a love for his son. They went back to 2014, Piers. And if you're going to preemptive, which I don't think has ever happened, preemptive pardon, you know what that means? They're guilty, Piers. They all had a hand in it. And Dr. Fauci, okay, if any of you have read RFK's book, The Real Anthony Fauci, please read it, because everything that he said in there, if any of it was false, Piers, Joe Rogan's mentioned this, he would have been sued years ago. It shows exactly who that individual is. That person exactly. We, as Trump supporters, Piers, and you know what? Everybody expects him to come in and be this guy and no. He isn't half as bad as what we want him to be. Like Hillary Clinton, he said he was nice. He didn't want to put her in jail. He had enough to put her in jail for a very, very long time for all of her crimes, and it's ridiculous. And you know what I did, Piers? I took a list. Guess how many? A list of all the pardons by all the presidents. Franklin D. Roosevelt did 3,687 pardons. Barack Obama did 1,927. Lyndon B. Johnson, 1887. Donald Trump, 237 pardons, Piers. And you know what I mean? It's absolutely ridiculous. We all know the deal. Nobody really talks about it on the left. We know exactly what it is. And you know what? If I was Donald Trump, why doesn't he have Don Jr., Eric Trump, Ivanka just start doing crack cocaine, start doing drugs, videotaping themselves having sex, leave the freaking laptops at a repair store with all the damning evidence, the big guy, all the business dealings, all the money that they've made, and then in 4 more years, they'll all walk free. It's absolute hypocrisy, Piers, and it's ridiculous. We know the deal, and they're all protected.
Well,
and
I do know,
Dr. Fauci, that guy had Secret Service protection for the rest of his life. Our taxpayer dollars are protecting that little rat and all the lives that he's ruined. I have friends that are vaccine injured, not that long COVID BS, Piers. Those people, if he freaking pardons that little rat, it's going to be one of the worst travesties in the history of this freaking country. That guy belongs in prison for the rest of his life.
But I would say, Brian, it does seem extraordinary to me. I mean, my issue with Joe Biden pardoning his son is not that as a father I don't understand why he wants to stop his son going to prison. It was the blatant lying by him and Karine Jean-Pierre from the White House podium, which I thought was so damaging to his legacy and to the reputation of his administration. To do that from the podium in such a brazen and ongoing manner for months on end and then to just do it anyway. However, the fact that Biden may be moving to give people blanket immunity against any possible crimes they committed for many years, I think is outrageous, don't you?
Piers, I think that if you're not looking at it in the context of why it's being done, then you're just ignoring reality here. The reason that Biden has to consider preemptive pardons for people like Adam Schiff and Liz Cheney is because Donald Trump is storming into office by assembling a Justice Department and folks around him in the legal community who have promised to enact Donald Trump's retribution.
But what if
tour.
they've
That's
committed
why
crimes?
He's doing it.
What
Let's
if
not
they've
pretend that
committed
it's
crimes?
happening in a vacuum here.
Yeah, but Brian, what if they've committed crimes, genuinely, like Hunter? What if they have committed crimes?
If Adam Schiff has committed crimes,
Yeah.
he hasn't. There's no suggestion that he has.
How do you know?
Because how do you know that he has? I mean, it's ridiculous.
Why pardon him?
Why pardon him is because
why
Donald
pardon him
Trump
if he hasn't
will
committed
usher
crimes?
because Donald Trump's FBI director is coming into office with an enemies list. Why wouldn't you?
Oh, you're saying
Why wouldn't
they're going to manufacture crimes against Schiff?
oh.
Is that what you're saying? You're saying that they're going to manufacture crimes against Schiff? Does
If
that
there
even make
were-
sense
if
to
there were
you?
any crimes-
Does that
if there
even
were-
make sense to you?
If there were any crimes against Adam Schiff, then they would have brought them up at any point unto this point, but they haven't. And so
Then
Donald
why
Trump
pardon him?
knows
Then
that
why
because-
pardon him?
Yeah.
Then why pardon
Yeah.
him? Makes no sense. Your logic is totally flawed here. Makes no sense.
It's not flawed.
I
The
can
reason
answer
to
that
pardon
question.
him.
Okay.
Now, see, to me, that is Brian Tyler Cohen showing that an accusation, an investigation, according to the Democratic side of things, means guilt, indicates guilt. And so we can't even investigate Adam Schiff. We can't even investigate Dr. Fauci. We can't even investigate anybody because to them, like I said, an investigation implies guilt. And if you don't believe me, look at how guilty they think Donald Trump is over everything that he's been investigated for. I've heard it said multiple times. They don't investigate for no reason, implying an assumed guilty verdict.
Okay, Julie, let me bring in Julie. If you can answer it, answer it.
I can answer that question because Donald Trump went to meet the press yesterday and said point blank that he thinks that the January 6th committee committed crimes. What crimes?
did.
I don't know. Maybe doing their due diligence. Stop. Maybe doing their due diligence oversight.
we have got
And as
that clip.
members of
Let's play that. I'll
Congress,
tell you
they
what.
have. They have.
Let's
wait,
play that.
stop.
Julie, hang on.
They have immunity.
Hang on, Julie. I want to play the clip.
So
we
the
can,
point here. Yes.
Let me play the clip again so we know exactly
Yep.
what you're talking about. We played it early, but we'll play it again.
This was a committee, a big deal. They lied. And what did they do? They deleted and destroyed a whole year and a half worth of testimony. Do you know that I think those people committed a major crime.
Sir.
And Cheney was behind it.
Well-
and so was Benny Thompson and everybody on that committee.
We're going to.
For what they did,
Yeah.
honestly, they should go to jail.
Yeah,
So what
I mean,
the hell
look.
is he talking about? That so there's no. So let's just preface this. None of that is true. None of that is true.
How do you know
Just
out of
because he
interest?
says it doesn't make it true.
How do you know? How do you know?
I know? Because
How do you know?
I would assume that because his
Assumptions
lawyers
are a very
would have
dangerous
filed a
thing when it
motion.
comes to
His
fact gathering.
I'm answering your question.
saying that Donald
His
Trump's
lawyers
Justice
would have
Department is
filed-
going to manufacture evidence of crimes, or
I
aren't
am
you?
sa-
Because if
Can
they're
I
not,
answer
you
the
have
question,
no
or do you wanna
reason to
keep
pardon
interrupting
these
me?
people.
Do you
you're
want
not
me to
really answering
keep
the
talking?
question. You're going on a
Frank,
diatribe.
Well, you're not letting me answer. You're not letting me answer the question.
Answer, but be
Do I
concise.
believe
I
that
actually
he
want to hear it.
Okay. Well, actually, thank you so much for telling me how to speak. I
You're welcome.
think that Donald Trump just sent a very big message to Pam Bondi as to what he expects. And he expects her to start and to Kash Patel to start investigating these people. Whether they get indicted or not, it doesn't matter. It is expensive. It is consuming. and it becomes a huge pain in the you-know-what to be investigated by the federal authorities. And that is the message that he is sending.
Like the Russian collusion.
He knows full well that there is nothing that's been destroyed, because had it been destroyed, his lawyers would have filed a motion.
Yeah, but Julie,
and
I
they
would say
never
to you,
did throughout all of
They
this
were not in a
Julie, hang
position where
hang
they
on.
could investigate
hang
this.
on.
They were not in a position to do that.
I would say to Julie, look, when you weaponize the justice system of the United States of America against a president of the United States, first ever criminal court case we've ever seen involving a president, and it's about shuffling some paperwork over an alleged one-night stand he denies with a porn star 18 years ago. When you render the justice system to be such a politically motivated farce, and most Americans actually thought that, when you do that as an administration, when you allow that to happen, you open up a whole can of worms. You've done it first. You've gone after this guy. You've tried everything you could, however petty, trivial, ridiculous,
Now
to try
you
and
reap
put him
the
in jail.
whirlwind.
And when it doesn't work and it actually
All right,
backfires and it fuels him and he ends up winning big.
So you're talking about a state. So you're talking
Yeah,
about
Piers,
a.
that's
By
the
the way,
New York
Piers, you're talking
case.
about a state. You're talking about a state charge that has nothing to do with Joe Biden. If you're talking about the federal
I'm
investigations,
talking about Democrat-motivated prosecutors who were doing their master's lead, right?
I don't know who you're talking about. If you're talking about the Justice Department, over which Donald Trump will have authority by appointing an attorney general, I am telling you that what the Justice Department under Joe Biden was investigating is the fact that Donald Trump refused to return classified information that he stored in his bathroom at Mar-a-Lago. It is the fact that he incited a violent riot that effectively harmed and hurt our transfer of power for the first time in our nation's history.
Well, you're now
So from
convicting
that
him of all these
perspective,
crimes, which he's not being convicted of.
So I got to cut in there and correct the record. She's not telling the full story here by conveniently leaving out the fact that the number 3 guy in Biden's DOJ, Matthew Colangelo, who has a history of going after Donald Trump, he stepped down from his DOJ position into a lower role working for a New York City District Attorney's Office.
Matthew Colangelo, tell us why we should know about Colangelo's role in all of this.
Because he held the number 3 spot at DOJ, which is maybe the most coveted spot at the Department of Justice outside of Attorney General itself, because typically that job is a straight path to becoming a corporate bigwig, making a lot of money. It's considered very elite. So for him to step down from that, to go work for a local prosecutor in New York on this case, it says something. I think it says that he's got to be a pretty true believer, and this is personal, if he wants to get involved in this.
Now, we hear over and over that from the Trump side that this is all orchestrated from Washington, orchestrated from the White House. We know the DOJ didn't touch this case. They didn't take it up. But then this number 3 left the DOJ and went up here and is one of the lead attorneys on this. And you say it's surprising that he's so face forward on all of this.
Yeah, I actually almost jumped back in my seat today when I was sitting there when I realized he was the one presenting opening arguments. And I thought, oh, wow, they're not concerned at all about how this looks.
So don't let them tell you that Joe Biden has nothing to do with the New York City state case, right? It's a bunch of bullcrap.
I'm not convinced.
None of them.
I'm not
The only thing he's been convicted of is shuffling paperwork with a porn star. And let me rephrase. Hang on. Wait, let me rephrase what I was saying. I'm talking about weaponizing the justice system. Let's make it a more all-encompassing thing, where you have Democrat slanted prosecutors who just want to jail Trump, even if it's down for shuffling paperwork over a porn star. To me, it was utterly ridiculous, that case. And the idea that you then criminally convict...
I don't disagree with that.
But, right.
Case.
So my point is, I don't think anyone
case.
disagrees with it, really. So here's my point, is that as a Democrat, you know, when you look at this, what's happening now, why wouldn't Trump do this? I mean, he's perfectly entitled to return the favor, isn't he? All's fair in love and politics.
To do what? To do what? Because
to
we
be
have
equally as aggressive.
To be equally as aggressive.
Political targeting. He has specific crimes with which he was charged. What are the specific crimes with which you want to charge Liz Cheney? That she stood up to Donald Trump?
Well, that's not the point. That's not the point. Hang on, that's not the point.
As a congressperson?
Get real, lady. It took them 8 years to come up with those charges against Donald Trump. 6 years, 7 years to come up with those charges against Donald Trump. It required some investigation, some legwork. So acting like there's nothing there when it comes to these Democrats who are receiving blanket pardons is completely absurd. The American people deserve better than this.
Julie, the point is, we don't know, because what is being mooted is that there are going to be blanket immunities against any crime that may have been committed, which does, I'm afraid, prompt the question, what are they hiding? Why are you so scared? If there's literally nothing there,
Well, first
if
of all,
none of
they're
them
not
did
taking
anything
them.
wrong,
Do you see Liz Cheney
why
accepting
do you
it?
need blanket immunity?
Because you have a Justice Department that was just told in very clear terms by Donald Trump to the people that he's putting in there, whom he considers to be his loyalists, that he believes that these people committed crimes by investigating him. That is what they're looking into. Not that they might have smoked pot back in 1974 in college.
Why would you need a pardon
Not that they
for
might
that,
have
though?
driven drunk in 1983. For what?
Yeah, but why would you need a
Why do you
pardon
need a
for that? It
pardon?
makes no sense. So if Trump, even if Trump is
nobody
investigating,
wants
hang
to
on,
go-
hang on. Let me ask the question. Even if it were the case that Trump wanted to open an investigation as to whether or not there was foul play during the previous administration's investigations of him, why in the world would this require a pardon to these people? That makes no sense to me at all.
Because why
would there be a requirement of a
because
pardon?
why do these people need to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars in legal fees on dealing with BS, which is part of their oversight duties to have
We
done.
don't know
They
if
were
it's
members
BS.
of
We haven't
Congress. They
investigated
have
it yet. What are you
immunity to
talking
do
about?
this. We
So we just can't investigate
excuse me,
anybody
we
because
do know
there
it's
could
BS
it could be
because
bad.
It is part of their.
No, we don't know.
It is part. Listen, do you understand how it works? Have you ever worked on the Hill? Because I can tell you, they have immunity as senators and Congress people to do their oversight responsibilities. There is
Well, I thought you just said
literally
a second
laws
ago
in the
that there's going to be
United
hundreds
States-
of thousands of dollars in legal fees. Now you're backtracking
because
on that?
of course you'll have to go because you're going to have to go hire lawyers to be able to prove that this was part of their
Well, I
oversight
thought you just said they had
duties.
immunity.
Do you
Like
think
you
these
can't have
people
it both ways here.
Jesus, do you understand how this works?
Yeah.
You have to get a lawyer
trying
to go
to.
to
I'm
court
trying-
to tell a judge.
Okay, so then-
all of this.
So they don't
you
have
obviously
immunity?
don't understand how it works. You obviously. I'm sorry. Do you not understand what I'm getting here specifically?
Julie,
because you're
No, I don't
Hold on a
understand
second,
why
Piers.
these people
Julie.
need to have a pardon because they might be investigated for potential crimes they may have committed.
Can I
and
tell you
say they have
something?
nothing to worry
Can
about
I tell you
because there were
something?
no
What are the-
crimes.
what are the
then why do you need the
crimes?
pardon? It makes
They
no
have-
sense.
No, but Brian, hang on.
And you-
Don't all talk at once, please. Brian, you say, what are the crimes? That's the point. We don't know, and we may
But you're
never know.
you're looking for crimes because Donald Trump is looking for crimes because he doesn't like Liz Cheney and the fact that she did
No, he
oversight.
genuinely
But to
believes she's
Julie's
broken.
exact point,
He
to
genuinely
Julie-
believes
here's the
she's
point.
committed crimes.
Here's the point. To Julie's
crime?
exact point, first of all, what crimes? Second of all, it costs money to get legal representation to go prove all of this stuff. And third of all, it's moot. It's moot because all of these people have immunity anyway. You are allowed to act in your oversight capacity in Congress and the Senate to pass legislation to discuss
You
this
can't
stuff.
break
You
the
didn't
law.
care when Trump had to spend on lawyers. You didn't
But
care
what
about
law
that.
was broken? Yeah, you're right. They can't break the law, but there was no
So that's
law
the
that was
point.
broken. But it doesn't change the fact.
So
it
why
doesn't
do you
change
need
the
an
fact that it still
all-encompassing
costs-
immunity if you've never broken
Yeah, why do
the
you need
law?
all-encompassing immunity if there's no laws
because they're
broken?
I don't know.
guilty.
I don't
All
know.
right, let me-
if you
all right,
guys
let me
are
bring
playing
in- let me
dumb.
bring in Vinny.
I don't know if you guys are playing dumb or not, but the fact is
I don't
that
think
we
it's us
know
playing dumb,
that
Brian.
It costs money
No,
to
you are
move
playing dumb.
forward with this.
Okay,
No, I'm
Bri-
actually
Bri-
playing devil's
Brian,
advocate.
But you
I
guys,
tell you what,
you
look,
guys,
hang on. I'm going to bring Vinny in, but I am playing devil's advocate here because I do think there's a shocking hypocrisy by the Democrats, led by Joe Biden. The whole year they banged on about the rule of law. No one's above the rule of law. And here is President Biden in his last few weeks basically riding roughshod over the rule of law to bail out
Piers,
all his
you're pretending
family and all his
that it's
mates.
happening in a vacuum. Piers, you're pretending that it's happening in a vacuum,
No,
and
I'm not.
because Donald Trump
I'm
has
not.
come
I'm
out
saying
and
you.
said
I
that
say
he's
you
going to
reap.
use.
I'm saying you reap what you sow, though. You reap what you sow.
But Donald Trump has promised to use his Justice Department as a vehicle to enact his personal retribution toward. That is why it's happening.
All right.
By
Brian,
pretending that there's
Good.
Brian,
Good.
but
Ignores
Brian,
reality.
Let me bring
Brian,
in
you're
Vinny.
saying good for Brian. Good, because we want Brian. Good for him. If they did illegal shit, then go to jail. You guys are talking all that crap, and you're warning what Trump is going to do to what Biden and his DOJ has done this entire 4 years. Are you not seeing it? And
What
if
did
you think
they
we
do?
just feel
I'm
bad
curious.
because
What
they're
did
going to
they
have to
do?
spend money.
I'm curious
Excuse me.
What did they do?
Let
Do you
me
think
finish.
Donald Trump?
Let me
Do you think
finish.
Donald
You
Trump
think
should
you
have?
want
Do you
me to
think
feel
Donald Trump
bad?
should have
You
stored
want me
these
to feel
documents
bad
in
for them,
Mar-a-Lago?
Julie, spending money on lawyers? How much money have they gutted out of Donald Trump? How many people have suffered for that fake ass crossfire
Zero,
hurricane.
because he had his campaign pay for everything.
Obama, hold on.
Zero,
Russia
because people like you
collusion,
sent money into
Hillary
him.
got fined, DNC got fined. You're not going to talk over me. Let me finish. Thank you. And your whole, he incited an insurrection. It's all bullshit. There was no insurrection. He said, go quiet, go peaceful, don't hurt anybody. It got out of hand, but well, the FBI can't even answer. How many FBI agents were on the ground? Ted Cruz asked her in Congress.
Oh my God.
How many of them incited violence? It's all fake.
like listening
Nobody
to a
got
Facebook
arrested for
Look, if we're going to go
insurrection.
down the conspiracy rabbit hole, there's no point even talking about this, because it's like one person is saying that the Earth is round and somebody else is saying the Earth is flat. You're a flat earther, and there's no point in debating.
All right, don't
It
talk at
doesn't
once.
fit your
You're a
narrative.
flat
Don't
earther,
talk at
and
once.
there's
Although
no
I would
point in debating.
say, Julie, hang on.
Julie,
I would say, Julie, if we're going to go down conspiracy routes, I do remember a 2-year conspiracy being peddled by almost everyone in the American media that Trump had the election fixed by his collusion with Vladimir Putin, which turned out to be horseshit.
That's right.
So
That sure did turn out to be horseshit, and the Democrats spent like $50 million of our tax dollars trying to get Trump on that one, which Trump did approve, but that was him trying to investigate himself, unlike something that Joe Biden was willing to do, in order for Trump to try to prove to the Democrats that, look, I'm not this bad guy colluding with Russia. You know, it was a big waste of time and a big waste of money, because the Democrats are going to hate Trump no matter what he does. So hopefully this 4 years, he doesn't spend any time or much time catering to the people who hate him, regardless of how much good he does. Although we hope that all Americans' lives will be better because Trump is the president. But I have another little clip that I want to show you, because she was calling Vinny a conspiracy theorist when he mentioned the FBI at the January 6th rally. And so here, check this out, because we have breaking news over the last couple of days in regards to just that.
A stunning new report has revealed that the FBI had 26 informants on the ground in Washington, D.C. during the January 6th Capitol riot that unfolded nearly 4 years ago. And of those 26 informants that were on the ground, a majority of them had entered in spaces that were off limits and did not have special permission to do so. That is the finding of the Justice Department's official watchdog. Notably, the watchdog concluded that there was no evidence to suggest that the FBI had any actual agents that were on the ground, but they did have these informants. We had previously known from prior court cases that there were some FBI informants on the ground. One court document had revealed that one of the informants was texting their FBI handler when the riot and the chaos unfolded that day. But we did not know the exact extent of the FBI's informants and the amount of coordination that had gone into this. This report basically revealed that of the 26 informants, 3 of them had coordinated with their FBI field offices before showing up that day, and the rest of them appear to have largely shown up basically of their own accord. So pretty stunning stuff. The report
Also, I have this post here on X from Thomas Massey. For years, I was called a conspiracy theorist for asking Garland, Wray, and Horowitz whether government assets participated in J6. Yesterday, I was vindicated. DOJ IG report confirms there were FBI confidential human sources in the crowd entering the Capitol and breaking laws. So with Biden giving blanket pardons to his son Hunter that go back 11 years, also wanting to do these all-encompassing pardons for yet-to-be-determined crimes, which in my opinion implies guilt of some sort, is a complete abuse of presidential power. And all of these woke pundits that are out here making excuses, oh, it's going to cost them money and all this stuff, they never cared when it came to getting Trump. The fact is, the majority of the population, the majority of the vote, whatever you want to call it, voted for Donald Trump, and that's a part of the mandate. The people are telling the current leaders that we want you investigated. We want Donald Trump to come in and be that bull in the china shop to fix things, to restore law and order, and to hold the people accountable who enrich themselves at the expense of the American people, who broke laws from positions where they're supposed to be servants of the American people. And we want to start a new we want to set a new standard. So with that, if you're still watching this video, I assume you enjoyed it. So please consider subscribing today. Also, hit that like button, share this video, and I'll remind you I go live every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 6 p.m. with the Jar Openers podcast on this channel. I'd love to see you there. Click the link down in the description, join the Discord, and I'll see you guys in the next video.